Now, ahead of the August polls, political temperatures continue to escalate and the ripple effects immensely felt by the electorates. The politicians, with their great influence on the citizens, have the potential to put the country on the wrong path due to the bickering and campaigning, the violence experienced during campaigns. Now, before the ship sways to the wrong path, it is important that we spread the message of peace and harmony to all citizens to embrace each other ahead of polls, during the elections, and of course after the election. That forms the basis of our discussion tonight. Joining me is Bishop Hudson Ndeda, the chairman of the Church and Clergy Association of Kenya. Thank you so much, Bishop, for dedicating your time for this discussion.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on this program.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, right into the discussion, let's begin from the basic point of this discussion. And we're talking about political tolerance. What exactly is political tolerance, and what are the forms of intolerance when it comes to politics?
Political tolerance, in simple terms, is liberal democracy.
Mm-hmm.
When I don't agree with your choices, I don't agree with what you believe in, I don't agree with your vision, but I respect what you stand for.
Mm-hmm.
That is tolerance. And that is where we really want to see the country going,
right,
if our democracy has to grow. Because that forms the whole issue of democracy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, let everyone believe in what they believe in. Let everyone believe in their choices. And we respect, because at the end of the day, not everybody will be a leader.
Right.
There will be elections, and some will be elected, mm-hmm, and some will miss the opportunity.
Right.
Yes.
Now, still on that, when you're talking about political tolerance, one key ingredient when it comes to that is the freedom of speech, where someone is at the free will of saying anything, the freedom of speech and expression. But recently, NCIC banned the use of political jargon words like tupangwingiwi, which has also caused fury in the political arena. So what is your take on this? Don't you think this infringes some of the rights, the constitutional rights of freedom of speech and expression for some people?
Yes, there is freedom of speech and expression, but there will always be limits. There are some limits that you don't go beyond, mm-hmm, because you will understand that where your freedom stops, my rights begins from there.
Right.
So as you exercise your freedom and democracy, it is also important to understand that the rest of Kenyans, mm-hmm, have their own rights as well. Right. Now, coming to what you're saying, speeches, mm-hmm, that politicians are using words, mm-hmm, that are not very right. Right. It is unfortunate to have grown-ups people who are called honorable. Mm-hmm. When you are called honorable, it means you are a honorable man, right, or a honorable woman. So even whatever you speak from your mouth must be honorable. Mm-hmm. And indeed, we have heard of words being used in political rallies, mm-hmm, that are not very, very good. Some of them, even when you sit down with the children, you are not even very comfortable listening to those people. Right. Yeah, so indeed, we have seen the NCIC, mm-hmm, coming up with some words that are kind of blacklisted. You cannot use them. Mm-hmm. It is good, but I always feel that is not enough. We want to see actions. Yeah. We sometimes ask ourselves whether really this commission was really needed in this country, mm-hmm, because we have not seen actions. We have seen threats. We have seen so much talk, mm-hmm, but it is time now we see action, right, because it is that lack of action that has made people feel that there is nothing they can do. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. Now, talking of action, because We can see actually from the list of words that NCIC had banned from being used in public rallies, but we have seen a faction of leaders actually still using the same words, and they were even claiming that the NCIC as a body has been used, has been turned into an institution that is being used against the hustler nation. And of course now that raises the question of our leaders, the respect to the authority, because NCSC, I think, is as a body, it should be a body that is respected across all boards with all leaders. But now the instructions, the directives that was given by this body, some politicians are not respecting the directives that have been given by this body.
Yes, that is the problem we have in this nation. We have total disrespectfulness of the law. People don't respect the law, and especially the political class. But then where we have the biggest problem is that we have politicians whom we have entrusted with making laws. So it is very hard. Even as when you see them going to court, they know there is a loophole somewhere, because they're the ones who are coming up with these laws. You have seen, for example, the Chapter 6. Has it ever worked in this country? No, because these people cannot create laws that they know that they are going to pin them down. But it is unfortunate that going to courts is a right of every Kenyan. Every Kenyan has a right to go to court when they feel that their rights have been infringed on and all that. But it is unfortunate, even after the NCIC classified those words, a body that is recognized in this nation, gazetted body, that you can still have politicians who defy openly and speak it out in their political rallies. That is like defying the law. And if it continues that way, we are afraid that we are going to raise a generation that is not very good.
Right.
Yes.
Now, still on the same note, we can borrow from the directive also that was given by the Interior PS Karanja Kibicho, saying that the people who are meddling in hate speech and words that can fuel misunderstandings among citizens, actions will not be taken against them until after the general elections. Don't you think some people might, some politicians might use this as a loophole, creating a division among Kenyans with the thought that maybe after the election they might probably lose the elections and stay irrelevant after the polls, and then now arresting them becomes of no use?
Yeah, indeed, that is very funny. I heard of it, and why would he want to delay justice? Yes.
Yeah, because we could actually argue that, justice, when it's delayed, it's justice denied.
It is denied. And that is what I said when I said politicians in this country are people of their own class. They are not classified together with us.
Right.
And that is why they can decide when they will go to court. You have seen they're playing clever games. You see sometimes when some of them are wanted, they will immediately fall sick and stay in a hospital for a whole month. All those are tricks to delay justice. It is not right to say that somebody will commit an offense today, and you say we will wait until after August 9th, after the elections. Then it means they have suspended the law. They have suspended the constitution. So we would urge the government then to go ahead and suspend the very law for every citizen, so that every citizen that commits an offense in this period of time, an action is not taken on them until after the elections. How would that sound to them? Because exactly that is what they're trying to say.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, because we're just borrowing from the discourse that we've had, we are seeing NCIC as a body is not taking if he's not making much efforts to ensure that everything falls in place as it's supposed to be in taming the political intolerance, and of course other bodies that are mandated, of course, with ensuring that everything goes as it's supposed to be. So what are some probably the initiatives or structures that probably you think might create a good environment, a conducive environment for all Kenyans ahead of polls that should be enacted in our country? Maybe some of the changes that should be brought into the system to ensure that everything works smoothly as it's anticipated for everyone.
Yes, I've been thinking about this, and I've been thinking about empowering the NCIC so that they can develop their own laws to govern that particular area. Because, you see, the commission depends on the laws that have been enacted from the parliament. And most of the culprits, most of their customers then would be the politicians. And that is what I said. These people will always create loopholes in the law, so that even when you take them to court, they can still argue and say this is not exactly what the Constitution says about this. So for me, if this body will be truly independent, so that it is headed by Kenyans who know what we suffer, what we go through as a nation and as a people, so that they can come up with laws that cannot be challenged by the politicians. And also they be given powers to take people to courts, because you see the process. They identify the culprits, but it is still subjected to police. It is still subjected to DPP, until when it goes to court, it is already diluted. The real meaning of that case is not the very one that the commission brought forward. I think that is where the problem is. Yeah.
Now, but again, looking at the trends in politics, starting probably from the previous general elections, are we really seeing the kind of vigor that people had in the previous elections? Because even if you try to compare it with the registration, the mass registration that IEBC had, there was a lot of voter apathy. Does this really mean that Kenyans are losing hopes when it comes to elections, sending people to offices to represent their needs?
Yes, to some extent, yes. And to some extent, no. But indeed, Kenyans are losing hope in the systems that we have. When you hear things like our vote did not count. We voted and it did not count. That is not encouraging. If you voted and you feel that your vote did not count, it did not work, you might think, then why do I vote? That is why probably we see some of the political meetings, people are going on with their daily activities. They're no longer going there. But I've done some studies and I've realized that people have moved from the rallies and they are now on social media. So politics is now played on social media. That is the WhatsApp. If you look at the Twitter, Facebook, and you will find there are some politicians who are very popular there. They post something and in a few minutes you will see thousands of comments. So probably Kenyans have moved more to social media than as opposed to the crowds that have been there.
All right. Now, just because for the sake of time, my director is telling me that we should be winding up now. But as we wind up this discussion, because we want to advance this agenda of political tolerance to all Kenyans ahead of the general elections, during the election, and of course, even after the elections, what message would you be having for the citizens at large concerning peaceful elections?
Yes, I want Kenyans to know that elections are not a fight. Elections come and go, and in this case, it will end in August. We need to understand that Elections will come and go, but our brothers and sisters will remain. We will remain brothers, we will remain sisters, we will remain neighbors, we will remain workmates. So we must not lose our lives or make enemies because of following politicians and supporting them. And in fact, I would want to tell some of them, after 9th of August, whether your candidates win or lose, some of them, you will not even be able to find them on phone. So exercise politics with a lot of humility, knowing that we still need one another.
Right.
Yes.
All right, that's it, and we really appreciate, of course, your input in this, in spreading the message of peace, and for Kenyans to know the impact and the meaning of political tolerance. It's very important that actually we embrace each other, because, as they say, politics will come and go, but we still remain and we still need each other. All right, and with that, we're taking a very short break. We shall be coming back with sports news.